Thank you, Your Honor.
Your name?
Nicolese McCauley.
All right, ma'am, you're here because you're arrested on a charge of urinating in public.
We're gonna enter a plea of not guilty, Your Honor.
All right, look, enter plea of not guilty on that. That'll be set for pretrial in Division.
83, it'll be February 27 at 8:30 in courtroom 16.
All right, public defender will be appointed if not previously done so.
So I haven't been fingerprinted or booked, and I was kidnapped. An officer came up to
Competency,
me,
Your Honor.
and I got shot in the head. No, I did. I got shot in the head. I came from the hospital. I'm not giving my rights. I have.
That's right, we're setting it for a pretrial. It's gonna be on a trial docket.
So why would I have to sit if I was kidnapped and I peed on myself? That's not a crime when I got shot and I have intestinal
Depends.
problems.
Oh, your attorney will be in touch.
Well, I don't think I need an attorney. I would like to sue you.
Okay.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because you never checked on me being kidnapped. For real. No, it's true.
Your name, sir?
William Payne, sir.
All right, Mr. Payne, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery. I have reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. The bond is set in the amount of $500. If you do bond out, you're not to have any contacts with
Oh,
Ciorstadh,
I'm trying, yeah.
Ciorstadh, WIC.
Yeah.
No guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol, and I appoint a public defender to represent you.
Oh, excuse me, sir. I'm just trying to figure out something you said you read the report I ain't contesting that. I ain't trying to get in nothing with nobody. But brother, sir, I'm finna lose everything I got. A mental health court helped me get to a place to stay. I was headed to work. That should be in the report as well. I don't know who the victim is. I ain't worried about them. I'm just trying to stay stable. I was working. I was finna get a job. All that's verified by the officer. I ain't gonna have no contact with nobody. I ain't been in no trouble since I've been through mental health court, and I'm just asking for a little bit of mercy. I have a job. I'm gonna lose my job, and I'm gonna lose my place to stay, and I don't know if I'll be able to recover off that on my own. Like I said,
I set a bond, you have a bond, so you can get out.
I don't have nobody, sir. That's the whole problem. I'm trying. Listen, like I say, sir, I'm just.
Was he interviewed for pretrial release?
Nobody seen me yesterday.
He refused.
Nobody seen me. I was sitting in there the whole time. I ain't trying to argue.
Pretrial, was he screened?
I never seen nobody.
He was screened.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
But I'm just asking, please.
You're gonna,
Can I just be R&R? And I ain't got no contact with nobody or nothing. I'm headed to work. Please, I'm begging.
State would object to an ROR. He has 3 prior failures to appear and given a violent offense.
Who failure to appear? Judge, I've been through mental health.
I understand.
And I help.
I'll set the bond at $500, and I appoint a public defender, they can always see if they can get that reduced.
Well, how long will it be before I get a
I
court
don't
date, sir?
have all the
Please.
attorney.
I'm just
That's
trying to
up to
find
the public defender to file a motion. They've got to get on it.
Oh,
Okay, thank you.
wow. Dog, I'm supposed to get beat on. He didn't go to
All right, your name, sir?
How you doing?
Your name?
Bader.
All right, good morning. You're here for 3 charges, and I have read the charging affidavit on those. The first one's an attempted burglary of a conveyance. I have reviewed that, and that was based on a probable cause warrant. And bond was set on that attempted in the amount of actually, excuse me, that's the burglary of a dwelling. That's $5,000. Yeah, no return, no guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. And let's see, that was in 1506, 1657 is an attempted burglary of a conveyance. I reviewed the charging affidavit in that. I do find sufficient probable cause. Bond set $1,000 on that. And then in the 1659, I think it is, also $1,000. No return, not to go back to that area, the General Dynamics parking lot. And you're not to possess any guns, any drugs, any weapons, or any alcohol. I'll appoint a public defender to represent you on all 3 of those cases.
That's it?
Yep, you're all set. Your name, sir?
Kareem Deshaun Francois.
Mr. Francois, you're here today because you were arrested on a charge of burglary of occupied dwelling and criminal mischief. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. Bonds will be stayed as previously, as you had gotten previously, $5,000 count one, $1,000 count two. I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. No guns, no drugs, no weapons, no alcohol.
State would ask for a no return, no
No
contact.
return to the 1855 Americana Boulevard apartment complex. Your name, sir?
Liggins, Tykeem.
Last name? Your last name?
Liggins.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Liggins, you're here today because you were arrested on 3 charges: battery on a law enforcement officer, resisting officer without violence, and trespass. I reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there is sufficient probable cause on those. Bonds will be stayed as previously. $2,500 on count one. I'll reduce the resisting charge to $100 and the trespass to $100, and I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. No return to the 7-Eleven at 3974 South Orange Blossom Trail.
Can you
No, wait,
repeat
was
those,
that what that was?
Can you repeat those charges?
What's that?
Can you repeat those charges?
Sure. Battery on a law enforcement officer, resisting an officer without violence, and trespass after warning.
Okay,
Those are 3.
Do not talk about the facts.
okay, no, number one, they asked me in there, and I'm going to be my own private attorney.
Okay.
I have my
Well, I'll
own
appoint a
private
public
attorney.
defender for right now. If you get a private attorney, they'll withdraw.
Second, I was attacked by the dog. That's the battery on the officer one.
So the battery on the officer happened in the 7-Eleven. The dog bit you after you ran from them outside the police, outside of the 7-Eleven, and that's how they caught you.
Right,
So then they took you to the hospital.
that's an officer that I was attacked by. So,
Well, that might be.
Right.
It was an officer. It is considered an officer, you're right about that, but that's not one of the charges. The charge was that you battered the officer in the 7-Eleven.
well, I mean, like I said, I would like to file that charge on that dog.
Okay, you need to contact law enforcement then. That's not
Okay,
something I can do for you.
Second of all,
That would be third of all, because you already had 2.
oh yeah, third of all.
Okay.
Third of all, I was pushing. She kept on pushing me, and I pushed her back to leave.
Well, that's the problem.
Right.
She was asking you to stay because they were investigating a trespass, and you kept trying, and then you finally pushed by her. When you put your hands on her, that's the battery.
Okay, when
So
she
we're all
put her
set.
hands on me,
We need to
that-
move on. We
when
got.
she put her hands on me, that was battery as well.
Well, no,
I mean, okay, well, next, another thing.
you gotta go. Come on up, ma'am. Your name? Your name, ma'am?
Leandra
Last name?
Walker.
All right, Ms. Walker, you're here today because you were arrested on a charge of possession of MDMA. I reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause, set upon the amount of $1,000. I will appoint a public defender not to possess any drugs or weapons while, if you do bond out, and not to return to 327 South Orange Blossom Trail.
Well, I returned it after my money.
That's it.
All I was possession of it, I didn't have anything on me.
Yeah.
That was just a half a blunt on the ground.
Oh,
On a half a blunt on the ground.
Okay.
Yeah.
you need to call the attorney if you have any defenses.
I'm not waiting to get out. They dug my coochie and took my money out. Checks and they cash checks said my money ain't back. I wasn't need.
Andrew Cool.
I will waive, Your Honor.
All right, we'll set that for pretrial in Division, I don't know. In Division 62 on the no valid, and in Division 80 for the petty theft.
Denial, Your Honor. I think it's a
Is that
VOP.
the VOP? Yeah. Set that for violation of probation hearing.
62 will be March 2nd at 1:30 in courtroom 12C. And Division 80 VOP will be March 6th at 9:30 in courtroom 9C.
All right. Come on forward. Your name, sir?
Timothy Mohammed.
Hi, Mr. Mohammed, you're here today because you were arrested on a charge of violation of probation from a DUI charge.
We're gonna enter a denial, Your Honor.
We'll set that for a violation of probation hearing in Division 85.
It will be 327 at 1:30 in courtroom 4A.
Thank you, sir. And public defenders appointed if not previous.
You take one.
Julia Eugene?
gonna give you a pen to sign the offer. And, Your Honor, for Miss Eugene's case 2023 MM41780, she's here on arraignment for a trespass on property other than structure or conveyance. The offer from the state is an adjudication, credit time served, no return to Langford Park, located at 1808 East Central Boulevard. There's also cost of investigation in the amount of $60 to Orlando Police Department. And Ms. Eugene would like to accept and enter plea of no contest.
All right, is that correct, Mr. Eugene? You want to enter plea no contest to time served?
Yes, sir, sir.
All righty, go ahead and sign that.
You have to understand, Mr. White Man. Your dad, your life hard with Julia Eugene. Understand, she don't got problems with me. You see, love the baby. Baby born 1974.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today, ma'am?
I don't take drugs, alcohol, but I know they say my dad died in 2004 when I divorced at Disney.
All right, have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
I know, I go to Lakeside.
All right, you understood all the rights on this form. Do you have any questions about anything on the form you signed?
Sir.
You understand this is punishable by up to a maximum of 60 days in jail, up to a $500 fine, and that the entry of your plea would result in deportation if you're not a citizen.
All right.
All right, I do find sufficient factual basis to accept your plea. I'll judge you guilty. You'll be sentenced to 20 days in the Orange County Jail with 20 days credit. You've already done those 20 days. I'll impose court costs, a $50 cost of prosecution, and a $60 cost of investigation to OPD. And I'll give you, that's about $330. I'll give you 18 months to get that paid. You can pay a little at a time or all at once, as long as it's paid in 18 months. Finally, we'll order that you not return back to the Langford Park for a period of 1 year. If you do go back there and the court's made aware that, you are subject to a contempt citation, which could result in up to 180 days in the Orange County Jail. But you'll be released as to this case today. Good luck.
Just go that way. Bye.
Mushin.
Machine.
Crystal Mushin.
I will waive and enter a plea of not guilty, Your Honor.
All right, we'll enter that for a pretrial on in Division 81.
It'll be March 17th at 9 o'clock in courtroom 6B.
Your name, sir?
And Mr. Nombri, Your Honor, is here in case number 2023 MM16180 for a trespass in occupied structure. The offer from the state was an adjudication of guilt, credit time served, no return to the Howard Vernon Hotel located at 600 West Colonial Drive. There's also cost of investigation in the amount of $104.36 to the Orlando Police Department. Mr. Nombri would like to accept and enter plea of no contest.
Is that right, Mr. Nombre? You wish to enter a plea of no contest then? All right, are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today?
No, Your Honor.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
No, Your Honor.
Read over your plea form, understood the right, and signed it. Do you have any questions about the rights on the form?
No, Your Honor.
You understand this is punishable by up to 60 days in jail, up to a $500 fine, and that the entry of your plea could result in deportation if you're not a citizen. All right, I do find sufficient factual basis, so I will judge you guilty. You'll be sentenced to 31 days in the Orange County Jail. You do have 31 days credit for the time that you previously served. And then I will impose court costs, a $50 cost of prosecution, and a $104.36 cost of investigation to the Orlando Police Department. Now I'll give you 18 months to get that paid. You can pay a little at a time or all at once, as long as it's paid within 18 months. All right, and you'll be released as to this case.
That's it.
The first one. What am I getting?
And Your Honor, Ms. Schaefer, there was an offer to resolve her petty theft of an adjudication of guilt, credit time served, no return to smoke break at 15265 East Colonial Drive, and restitution in the amount of $60 to smoke break.
And she would like to accept and enter plea of no contest, Your Honor.
All right, is that correct, Ms. Schaefer? You want to enter a plea of no contest?
Yes, Your Honor, I would.
All right, are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today?
No, Your Honor, I am not.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
No, sir.
Read over the plea form, understood the rights, and signed it on the bottom. Do you have any questions about the rights in the form?
No, Your Honor.
You understand this is punishable by up to 60 days in jail, up to a $500 fine, and that the entry of your plea would result in deportation if you're not a citizen.
Yes, Your Honor, I
All right,
do.
I do find sufficient factual basis. I will adjudge you guilty. Be sentenced to 7 days in the Orange County Jail with 7 days credit for the time you previously served. I'll impose court costs, a $50 cost of prosecution to the state, $60 restitution to the benefit of smoke, is that smoke break?
Yes.
All right. All the costs and restitution will be paid in 12 months. You can pay a little at a time or all at once, as long as it's paid in 12 months. And finally, order that you not return to Smoke Break for a period of 1 year. If you do return there and the court's made aware of that, you are subject to a contempt citation, which could result in a 180-day Orange County jail sentence.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you
Alrighty.
so much. Have a great day.
You too, you'll be released.
May I approach?
Yes. All right, your name, sir?
Tyshawn Marquis Thomas.
All right. Mr. Thomas, you're here on a trespass occupied structure.
We're gonna enter a plea of not guilty.
All right, we'll set that for pretrial in Division 81.
It's gonna be March 17th at 9 o'clock in courtroom 6B.
So that's your next court date. Resolve the case.
Your name, sir?
Jeffrey Nathan Torrance.
All right, Mr. Torrance, you're here for arraignment on your trespass in occupied structure and criminal mischief.
We're gonna enter a plea of not guilty, Your Honor.
All right, we'll set that for pretrial in Division 85.
It'll be March 13th at 9 o'clock in courtroom 4A.
That's your next.
Your name, sir? Your name?
Robert Dibble.
Mr. Dibble, you're here because you're arrested on a charge of petty theft. Bond set in the amount of $250, and I will appoint a public defender to represent you.
I don't have, is there any way to resolve this today, sir?
It's not making
He doesn't have an offer due to being enhanceable.
it. Mm-mm. You're gonna have to call the attorney. That's it. That's your paper. You just take both. Yep, these two. Those are yours.
All right, your name, ma'am?
Aisha Washington?
We have McDuffie.
Yes, sir.
Is that right? All right. You're here because you're arrested on a charge of prostitution, lewdness, and possession of drug paraphernalia. I reviewed the charging affidavit and I do find that there is sufficient probable cause or on those two. Bond is set amount of $750 on the prostitution. I'll reduce the bond of $100 on the possession of drug paraphernalia. And no return to the mapping zone if you do bond out. And no drugs, no weapons, no guns, no alcohol. And I'll appoint a public defender to represent you.
Yes, sir. I thought I had a public defender already.
Well, if you have a state attorney, call the number, they'll give you. That is a public defender. Yes, please.
Your name, sir?
Dennis Miller.
Mr. Miller, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of trespass after warning. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. Bond set in the amount of $500.
Your Honor, the offer to resolve is an adjudication, credit time served, and no return to 400 North Park Avenue. Mr. Miller would like to accept and enter a plea of no contest.
All right, is that correct, Mr. Miller? You wish to resolve your case?
Yes, sir.
All right, are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today?
No, sir.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
Oh, no, sir. Oh, yeah, a little bit. Not really.
You understand what's going on here today, though?
Yes, sir.
All right, you read over your plea form, understood that, and you signed it on the bottom. Any questions about anything on the form?
No, sir.
You understand that this is punishable by up to 60 days in jail, up to a $500 fine, and that the entry of your plea would result in deportation if you're not a citizen. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, I do find sufficient factual basis. I will accept your plea. I will judge you guilty of that. You'll be sentenced to time served. I'll impose court costs. What's the time served?
2 days.
Two with two. Impose court costs, $50 cost of prosecution, total of $273, and have you pay that within the next 12 months at any point in time. Finally, I'm going to order that you not return to 400 West Park for a period of 1 year. If you do go back there and the court is made aware of that, you are subject to a contempt citation. All righty, thank you. Be released as to this case. Your name, ma'am? Or ma'am, you're here because you failed to appear on your public nudity charge, bond set amount of $2,000.
And, Your Honor, the offer from the state was an adjudication, credit time served, and Ms. Robertson would like to accept and enter a plea of no contest.
Ms. Robbins, is that correct? You wish to enter a plea of no contest and resolve this?
Yes.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today?
No.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
No.
You read over your plea form, understood the rights, and signed it. Do you have any questions for me about any of the rights on this form?
No, no question.
You understand this is punishable by up to 60 days in jail, up to a $500 fine, and that the entry of your plea would result in deportation if you're not a citizen.
Yeah.
All right. If you find sufficient factual basis, I will judge you guilty. You'll be sentenced to time served. I'll impose court costs, $50 cost of prosecution to the state, and that's a total of $273, and I'll have you pay that at any point in time in the next 12 months. All right, you'll be released as to this case. Your name, sir?
My name is Theron Williams.
All right, Mr. Williams, you are here because you arrested on for failing to appear on your possession of a concealed weapon.
And,
And state did command offer of an adjudication in the firearm safety course within 6 months or D6 and credit time served.
and he would like to accept and enter a plea of no contest, Your Honor.
Okay. Is that right, Mr. Williams?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
All right, are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today?
No, sir, Your Honor.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past? Any mental illness at all?
Yeah, I got the mention.
Okay, you understand what's going on here today, though?
I do.
All righty, and you read over your plea form, I understood that. Do you have any questions about any of the rights on this form? On the form that you signed? I have it over here now.
Asking if
Any questions about anything on this
No,
form?
sir.
Okay, you understand this is punishable by up to 60 days in jail, up to a $500 fine, and that the entry of your plea would result in deportation if you're not a citizen. You understand?
I'm a U.S. citizen, Your
I
Honor.
understand. I gotta tell that to everybody. I say it 100 times a day. All right? Okay, I do find sufficient factual basis to accept your plea. I will adjudge you guilty of this charge. You'll be sentenced to time served. And I'll impose court costs and a $50 cost of prosecution, which would be a total of $273. And I'll give you 12 months to pay it, a little at a time or all at once, as long as it's paid in 12 months. Finally, I'm gonna order that you show completion of a firearm safety course within 6 months. Just go take a course, and then you make a copy of the certificate and give it to the clerk, and that'll take care of it for you. If you don't, they'll suspend your driver's license until you show proof of it. Okay? You'll be released as to this case.
they'll give you. Oh, I don't have any control over that. They process you out. I can't tell them how quick to move.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All righty, good luck. Your name, sir?
Marcellus Clark.
Right here.
All right, Mr. Clark, you're here today because you're arrested on charges of disorderly conduct. I have reviewed the charging affidavit. There is sufficient probable cause.
And state command an offer of an adjudication in 5 days OCJ with credit for 2
Do you have the case number, Your Honor?
I do, 2023 MO 191AO.
And he would like to accept and enter a plea of no contest.
All right, is that correct, Mr. Clark? You want to go ahead and resolve this?
Yes, sir.
All right, are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today?
No,
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
no,
This plea form, you understood your rights and signed it. Do you have any questions about the rights on the form?
no,
You understand this is punishable by up to 60 days in jail, up to a $500 fine, and that the entry of your plea may result in deportation if you're not a citizen.
yes,
All right, I do find sufficient factual basis to accept your plea. I will adjudge you guilty. I'll sentence you to 5 days in the Orange County Jail. You do have 2 days credit, impose court costs and a $50 cost, actually just court costs. That's $223, and I'll give you 12 months to get that paid. You can pay a little at a time or all at once, as long as it's paid in the next 12 months. All righty?
all right,
Good luck, sir.
thank you.
Your name, sir?
James Farrell.
Mr. Farrell, you're here because you were also arrested on a charge of disorderly conduct. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find sufficient probable cause.
And the state committed an offer of an adjudication and credit.
I just need the case number, Your Honor.
It's 2023 MO 192AO.
And he would like to accept and enter a plea of no contest.
And you said that was time served?
Yes.
Okay. Is that correct, Mr. Farrell? You just want to enter a plea of no contest to time served?
Yes. No, you gotta answer the question.
Sir?
He said, do you want
Is that what you wish to do, is enter a plea of no contest to time served? All right, are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today?
I'm good.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
No, sir.
You read over your plea form, understood the rights, and signed it on the bottom. Do you have any questions about the rights on the form? Understand this is punishable by up to 60 days in jail, up to a $500 fine, and that the entry of your plea could result in deportation if you're not a citizen. Understand? Yes? You can answer out loud. Do you understand that? All right. Do you understand that the entry of your plea could result in deportation if you're not a citizen?
if you're not a U.S. citizen?
Okay. I do find sufficient factual basis to accept your plea. I will adjudge you guilty. Be sentenced to the time you've served. I'll impose court costs and a $50 cost of prosecution. That's a total of $273.
Okay.
And I'll require you to get that paid at any point in time in the next 12 months. All righty? You're released as to this case.
Trowell was a bond?
Yep, trowel.
Let you out, 'cause you already have a bond.
All right, your name, ma'am? Your name?
Alicia Casher.
All right, Ms. Casher, you're here today because you failed to appear on your no valid driver's license. Looks like you're going to try to do the maximum penalty on this in installments. You've been arrested a couple of times. I do find that there was sufficient probable cause, so.
The state did convey an offer of an adjudication and credit.
And she would like to accept and enter a plea of no contest.
Is that correct, Ms. Casher? You just want to enter a plea of no contest to that no valid and get time served?
Yes, sir.
All right, are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol?
No, sir.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
No, sir.
And this plea form, you read over that, understood the rights, and signed it on the bottom?
Yes,
You
sir.
have any questions about the rights?
No, sir.
Okay, you understand this is punishable by up to 60 days in jail, up to a $500 fine, and that the entry of your plea could result in deportation if you're not a citizen.
Yes, sir.
All right, I do find sufficient factual basis. I will judge you guilty. I will, you be sentenced to time served. I'll impose court costs, a $50 cost of prosecution. That's a total of $306, and I'll give you 12 months to get that paid.
Can I?
Okay.
How do I'm not from here. How would I pay?
You can contact the clerk's office. They'll let you
Is
know.
there any way, Judge, that you can help me with getting my license? Like, is there any programs that I could? All right.
Well, I assume that probably was why you came, but you were supposed to come back a couple times.
Yes, sir. I was trying to get them switched over.
Just a sec. Because it's gonna be one thing, there's gonna be a late fee on this. Doesn't look like you got anything that's actually suspending you, you just gotta, did you have a Mississippi license?
Yes, sir.
Is it good in Mississippi?
Yes, sir. Last time.
And you should be able to go to the driver's license bureau if you can get your birth certificate and they have a social security card, they usually will transfer it over.
I've tried that and they were giving me a hard time. And
Well,
I'll try it again though.
yeah, give it another try. Find out what it is they want you to do, because they're the ones that actually make that decision.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right? Your name, sir?
Bryce Tolliver.
Thomas Tolliver here today because you were arrested on charge of driving under the influence. Oh, okay. All right, I do find that there is sufficient probable cause. I will reduce that bond to $500. You're not to operate a motor vehicle without a valid license, no drugs, no weapons, no guns, no alcohol. And I'll appoint a public defender on that one. Your name, sir? Mr. Allen, you're here for a number of charges. First of all, driving while license suspended. Number 2, possession of cocaine. Number 3, possession of drug paraphernalia. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. I'm going to reduce the bond on the driving while license suspended to $750. Possession of cocaine, $150. Possession of drug paraphernalia, $100. And I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. And you're not to operate a motor vehicle without a valid Florida driver's license. Your name, sir?
Juan Castro.
Castro, you are here today because you were arrested on 4 charges. Possession of methamphetamine, attaching tag not assigned, possession of firearm or ammo by a convicted felon, and possession of cannabis, 20 grams or less, with a weapon. Bond set as follows. In count 1, possession of methamphetamine with a weapon. I see why they did that. All right. That's the corrected amount actually should be $15,000 on that. Attaching a tag not assigned, I'll reduce to 100. Possession of firearm by convicted felon, reduce that to 1,000. Possession of cannabis with a weapon is $15,000. Appoint a public defender to represent you on those. And you were also out on bond. Possession of firearm by convicted felon, driving license suspended, and fleeing attempting to elude or revoke that bond. There's no bond on those. And a public defender is appointed, if not previously so, on that other case.
Okay.
Your name, ma'am?
Julie Dort.
Ms. Stewart, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of sale, delivery of cocaine. I have, this is based off of a warrant, probable cause warrant. Bond is set in the amount of $2,500, and I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. Your name, sir?
Travis Hawkins.
Hawkins, you're here for 2 things. First of all, you failed to appear on a petty theft case, and there is no bond on that. Second of all, you're arrested, and that's in the 2022 case. You're arrested on a new charge of disorderly conduct. and 2023 MO 193AO. Bond set in the amount of $100 on that. I'll appoint a public defender on the new case. Your name, sir? So you're arrested on a charge of possession of cocaine. I did find sufficient probable cause, bond set in the amount of $1,000 on that. And you're also out on bond on a battering a law enforcement officer, resisting an officer without violence.
Your Honor, I'd ask that you take no action. He's in comp proceedings in that case.
I'll take no action on that.
I believe he also has another case.
Yeah, I did. Wasn't there a failure to appear?
Yes.
Yes.
That's the 2021 case?
Yes.
And also in a possession case that you failed to appear on, and there is no bond on that. Your name, sir?
Jesus Joel Perez.
All right, Mr. Perez, you're here because you're arrested on a probable cause warrant for charge of robbery, sudden snatching, and grand theft. Robbery, sudden snatching is not a,
He's an F3.
yeah, why would I, so they no bonded that on the, I'll set upon the amount of $1,500, and on the grand theft, I'll reduce that to $1,000, total of $2,500. I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. And you are not to possess any guns or weapons, any drugs or alcohol, and no contact with the alleged victim.
You're welcome.
Your name, sir?
Jimmy Rodriguez.
Mr. Rodriguez, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of possession of cocaine within 1,000 feet of a convenience store or business, possession of drug paraphernalia, and attempt or destruction of evidence. I do find sufficient probable cause on that. Bonds $10,000 on the possession of cocaine, $100 on the drug paraphernalia, $100 on the attempted destruction. I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. Currently out on bond on a possession of cocaine, robbery with a deadly weapon. Actually, there is count 2 and 3, 2, 3, and 4. They didn't file on.
We did not file. We only filed the cocaine.
Okay. And I'll revoke ROR and put a new bond of $1,000 on that.
Justin? Your Honor, I will waive the appearance. However, I was going to argue no PC to the burglary. There was no crime that was committed therein. I would,
It was, they said the officer's own words were, well, you could just assume
Inferred.
he was gonna commit a crime.
The state has no objection. Your Honor, state would ask that you find PC for trespass in a structure.
I'll find PC for trespass and SEP on the amount of $500.
thank you.
Want a public defender to represent him.
Juan Valdez Castillo's behavior?
I will waive, Your Honor.
Valdez.
Behavior.
Yeah. Okay, as to 9360, 2 failures to appear. On both of those. As to 689, 2 failures to appear, no bonds on those. Point a public defender if he doesn't have one. Your name, sir?
Nicholas Wachek.
All right, Mr. Wachek, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of aggravated assault and resisting a merchant. Yeah, I did have a question about the aggravated part of the assault. But I think he just said that he raised his fist.
forgot.
Your Honor.
No, you don't want to talk about your case. Is there something I missed?
I don't believe so. I think,
I can just leave the bonds in place and we can roll it till tomorrow and you can see if you come up with something.
that's fine, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, so we'll, I just have a question as whether aggravated assault requires that there more than just a fist. That's just, that could be a simple assault. So the bonds will stay as they are, 1,500 and 100. If they don't come up with more to make an aggravated assault, then I'll probably reduce that first bond tomorrow, okay?
I think it's imperative to my growth if I'm able to say something, please.
I don't think you want to because you may hurt yourself. Right now, you're in your position, it's not gonna be any worse. If you can't bond out, you can't bond out, but it wasn't gonna change. In other words, if they'd had enough for me to find an aggravated assault, it would have been 1,500. I'm not reducing it, but I'm not also, it's not getting raised. It may go down. You could say something today that could cause you a problem, and then it might stay where it is. So you might be getting a lower bond tomorrow, or you can bond out today, if you wish, okay? All righty, good luck. We'll see you tomorrow if you don't bond out. Your name, sir?
Donald Welch.
All right, Mr. Welch, you are here today for 2 failures to appear. One, $2,000 bond. In 2022 CT 5220, the leaving the scene of an accident, failure to appear. There's a bond of $2,000 on that. And in the 388 AW for possession or carrying a concealed weapon. Oh, no, that's not the wrong file. Hang on. For the driving license suspended. Where's that from? You'll hate me. It's set for no, it's a VOP, so it's set for no bond. Actually, it's not a failure to. All righty. And a PD will be appointed in the cases you don't have a lawyer at this point. All righty, I will see you over there. So that's Reading and Gunter? And so not Spanish? All righty, that's it, I think, for the Spanish. Thank you
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Have a good morning.
You too. All right, your name, ma'am? Your name?
Catherine Gunter.
All right, Ms. Gunter, you're here today because you were arrested on charge of battery, domestic violence. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find that there is sufficient probable cause. Let me get that file up real quick. All right, sir, in the box, if you could raise your right hand, please. Solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Your name?
Matthew Gunter.
All right, and you are the alleged victim in the case?
Yeah.
What did you want to tell me?
Okay, well, this is primarily a mental illness issue. My daughter has bipolar. She's been engaging in some at-risk behaviors, and we've been trying to tamp down on those at-risk behaviors, and this was a reaction to that. Normally, it is not physical. It's turned physical recently. We primarily believe that this is a medication issue that we are trying to solve. It is very difficult to solve things medically because you can only tweak medication, and then you don't know if it's going to work, and you have to wait 30 days before you can tweak it again. And I think that right now, she's even confessed that she doesn't feel right about the medication she's currently taking. So we're going to engage in more therapy sessions. We're contacting her psychologist to talk about more medication issues. But we're doing the best we can with all this. Like I said, it's very unusual that it turns physical like this.
Yeah. So you don't have any problem with her coming back home?
No, we love her. We want her home.
All right. Then what I'll do is I'm not gonna require a bond. I'll ROR her on this.
Your Honor, state's only concern is there are 3 previous incidences of bat DVs, all Mr. Gunter being the same victim.
And I get that, but I mean, we're talking about a situation where they're trying to get it figured out. So I'm gonna ROR, so I'm not gonna require a bond. Obviously, no hostile contact with you, okay? Ms. Gunter, can't be hostile with them. They're trying to help you, right? I understand that you're having some difficulties with medication, and that's unfortunate, but you can't be hostile to them at all. You're gonna end up back here. Here, what the state's objecting to me, I'm not gonna require a bond or anything. I'm gonna let you go, but that may not happen the next time, okay? So no hostile contact with her father, Matthew. No guns, no weapons, no drugs other than those prescribed. So you're allowed to take your prescribed medication, but no recreational or any other drugs. And no alcohol, of course. That would just exacerbate it. And I will appoint a public defender to represent you. Okay? All righty. Thank you, sir. Good luck. Your name, ma'am?
Jerica Redding.
All right, Ms. Redding, you're here today because you were arrested on one count of violating a repeat violence injunction. I read the charging affidavit. I do find that there is sufficient probable cause. On that case, I will set bond in the amount of $750. And I will require that you have no contact, or first of all, follow the requirements of the injunction. Do not violate that injunction, and do not have any contact with Cornelius English, or return to 6411 Jackwood Court, where Mr. English currently lives. You are out on bond for the same charge, a violation of temporary, has that been filed on?
It has.
All right, I'll revoke that bond. There'll be no bond on that. And revoke on the battery on law enforcement, resisting an officer without violence, no bond on those charges. And the petty theft, I think that hasn't been filed on, I would think, not yet.
No, it has not.
There is? Oh, that's 2023 MM 58 AA. And that one, I'll just leave in the same situation, take no action on that. And I'll appoint a public defender on the new charges.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
So when you say I don't know bond for those, what does that mean?
That means that there's no bond. That means you'll be held on them.
I already paid for them.
I understand that, but those bonds will be released. So that you'll get no bond on those. You can always, did you have a public defender on those cases?
She does, Your Honor.
She does? Okay. You can contact them. They'll potentially speak to the other judge and see if they'd be willing to set a bond, but
So if I pay for this, could I get out?
no.
Um,
Because you're being held on no bond on the new ones.
and what charges are those?
Same thing, violation of an injunction.
Because they told me that they was dropping those charges.
Well, they may, but at this point they haven't, and so that's up to the state.
Do you have a court date for those charges?
No, not the new one. The new one will be set for an arraignment if they file on it.
Which one is the new one? The one I just got? You know what I'm saying? Do you have a court date for the ones you didn't?
Oh, I don't know, no. I'm sure that there was some court date, status or pretrial set, but I don't know what that is. Just your public defender will be in touch. Thank you.
Okay, and am I allowed to have contact with Capella Johnson?
No. No contact with Cornelius, that's the
No, I
problem.
said with Capella Johnson.
Who is that?
That's his kid's mother.
No. Come on up. Your name, sir?
Lionel Wilkerson.
Oh, all right, Mr. Wilkerson, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of disorderly conduct, a city charge. I did read the charging affidavit, and I do find there's sufficient probable cause.
And state did convey an offer to Mr. Wilkerson of an adjudication and credit.
All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Wilkerson, is that what you wish to do?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Go ahead and sign that. Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today?
No, sir.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
No, sir.
This plea form I got here, you just signed it. Did you understand all the rights on that before you signed it?
Yes,
Rights
sir.
you're giving up, all right. You understand that this is punishable by up to 60 days in jail, up to a $500 fine, and that the entry of your plea would result in deportation if you're not a citizen?
Yes, sir.
All right, I will accept your plea. I'll judge you guilty of the charge of disorderly conduct. You'll be sentenced to time served. I'll impose court costs and a $50 filing, or excuse me, $10 filing reimbursements, total of $233.
He doesn't, I don't.
There's no, it hasn't filed on, so.
So it's just $223. All right, just
Thank you.
$223. And I'll give you 12 months to pay. All righty? You're all set. You'll be released as to this case. Mhm. Your name, ma'am? All right, ma'am, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of aggravated assault, domestic violence. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. One here, okay. Do you have, let's see, were you living at the Mack Avenue address?
Yes,
Okay. Do you have another place to go other than that?
yes.
Okay, great. All right, on this charge, I'll set a bond amount of $750. You're not to return to 1015 Mack Avenue, other than you can go one time with law enforcement to pick up any items, personal items you may have there that you need.
My,
Okay.
they got it already.
What's that?
My
So you don't need to go back?
No.
Oh, she's just saying she doesn't need to go back.
Okay, perfect. You're not to have any contact with the victim in the alleged victim in the case. And that is Corey Roberts, Roberts. Not to possess any drugs, weapons, guns, or alcohol, and I will appoint a public defender to represent you. Mhm. Your name, sir?
Tony,
All right, Mr. Mayor, here today because you're arrested on several charges. First of all, battery, domestic violence, burglary of a conveyance, grand theft third degree, and criminal mischief. Is that wrong on here? I don't think it was a conveyance, wasn't it? Wasn't it like the back door of the house?
Let me double check.
This was a probable cause warrant. A previous judge did find probable cause. On these charges, I will set a bond. Now, you weren't living at that address, right?
No.
You don't have any reason at all to go back there?
No, sir.
Okay. As to the battery, domestic violence, I will set bond the amount of $500. I think the previous judge had already set bonds of $2,500 on each one.
I think it is supposed to be it.
The burglary charge, I'll stay that bond. As to the grand theft, I'll reduce that bond to $100, and the criminal mischief, $100. And you're not to return to or have any contact with anyone at that address. I'll get that real quick for you. That's 1289 South Kirkman Road, apartment 116. Not to return there. Not to have any contact with Manouse, Manouse, Bredy, or Breedy, Bredy, no contact with them, no guns, no alcohol, no drugs, no weapons. And I'll appoint a public defender to represent you.
And I believe it's also Kiave Jacobs.
Oh, yeah, that's right, there was the other fellow. Kiave Jacobs, also Kiave Jacobs, Jacobs. No contact with him as well. Thank you, sir. Your name, sir?
Salman Mohammed.
Mr. Muhammad, you were here today because you were arrested for some one case, battery on a person over 65, I had reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. And you were also an on-site violation of probation for the charges of shooting at or within an occupied vehicle and improper exhibition of a weapon or a firearm. So as to the probable cause on the battery on a person over 65, I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Now, the address that this occurred at, you were living at that place, I think, with your father and your girlfriend, is that right?
Sir.
You have another place to go?
Sir.
Where's that?
It's her uncle's house.
Set bond amount of $500, no return to the 2345 Ascot Avenue address, no contact with Shaheed Mohammed, S-H-A-H-E-E-D Mohammed, no guns, no drugs, no weapons, no alcohol. And I'll set bond on the violation of community control. $2,500. And same special conditions, no guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol, and no contact with the victim.
Sir.
Your name, sir?
William Kraus.
Mr. Kraus, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery domestic violence.
Yes, sir.
I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find that there is sufficient probable cause. Do you have another place to go to live other than the, well, this was at Fort Wilderness. Where, do you know where your family is now? Have they left and gone back, or are they still here?
They are still here, but I do have brothers and sisters that live here in the state of Florida.
So you can go and not, you won't have to stay with them, right?
Exactly.
All right.
Yes, sir. But the only thing is, with me being trespassed off of Disney property,
Yeah.
is there any way that I could go get my stuff?
You can, but you're gonna have to go with law enforcement,
Not a problem,
okay?
not a problem.
So I'll set bond amount of $500. You're not to return to that Fort Wilderness, and you're to abide by the trespass, except for you're allowed to go one time with law enforcement, okay? To go get any personal items that you may need, but you have to take law enforcement.
Okay,
Probably be a deputy out to Fort Wilderness. Not to have any contact with Michelle Denise Kraus,
that's the wife.
right? And also no contact with Jaylee McKay or Ariana Owen, or Dwin, looks like.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so no contact with any of them as well. No guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol, and I will appoint a public defender to represent you.
And Your Honor,
Yep,
I believe he stays in Birmingham.
yeah.
Could you put in the order that he be allowed to return home?
He can return as long as he stays in contact with the surety and as well as his attorney.
So I can stay here in Florida?
You can go back, but if you do that, you need to make sure you stay in contact with your attorney and also with the surety, whoever posts your bond.
Decide to stay here?
You can if you want, sure. All right, just not to have any contact. Mhm. Your name, ma'am?
Stephanie Fernandez.
All right, Ms. Fernandez, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of domestic violence battery. Have you reviewed the charging affidavit? I do find there's sufficient probable cause. The Gumbo Limbo address, were you living there? No? Yeah, any reason to go back there?
I left my bag there, Your Honor. That was an Airbnb that I rented.
Okay. And were you living with, you guys were splitting up, I think, right, with Oliver Lusant?
Your Honor, we were married but never lived together.
Okay. He lives at the Towhee Road address in Winter Haven? You were not living at that address?
No, Your Honor, I live with my mother.
All right, she does qualify for pretrial release. I can release you with pretrial release conditions. It wouldn't require a monetary bond, but you would have conditions that you'd have to check in with your PTR officer, and there's some things that they're gonna follow up with. Or I can set a bond, whichever one you want.
It depends how much.
Your Honor, I'd ask for pretrial release.
All right, I'll release you with pretrial release conditions, not to have any guns, any weapons, any drugs, or any alcohol, no contact with Oliver Lusant, Louissaint. You're not to go to 314 Towhee Road. All right, no return there, so you don't have any contact with him. So you left your stuff at that Airbnb though, huh?
Yes, Your Honor.
I would contact them. You know, if he's there, then you can't go back there, but if he's not, and I assume your Airbnb, they should have your stuff. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'll appoint a public defender to represent you as well.
The first number is 18. You don't have to pay, it's just, they'll release you.
Your name, ma'am?
Barbara
Last name?
Geffer.
All right, ma'am, you're here today because you were arrested and charged with the battery domestic violence. Have you read the charging affidavit, and do you find that there's sufficient probable cause? And the Space Trader Way,
Yes, sir.
is that where you were living?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
And where does, so Watson Myrtle lives there also?
Yes.
Do you have another place to go other than that?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'll set bond in the amount of $500. No return to the address, the Space Trader Way address, 640 Space Trader Way in Orlando. No contact with Watson Myrtle, Myrtil. No guns, no drugs, no weapons, no alcohol. You can return to that address one time if you have any personal items there. Do you have anything there?
Yes.
All right. You can go there one time with law enforcement. You got to call a deputy or a police officer to go with you, and you can pick up those items. All right?
And
And I'll take no action on the.
Your Honor, she's planning on relocating to Denver with her family. That's where all her family stays. Since this incident occurred, I would ask that she be allowed to return to Denver as long as the bail bondsman is okay with it and she stays in contact with her.
I don't have any problem with that, as long as you keep in contact with your attorney and with the surety as well, and then also I'll continue with the conditions.
Thank you. You're welcome. Take care.
Your name, sir?
Keontae Hill.
Hi, Mr. Hill, you're here today because you were arrested on a charge of battery domestic violence. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. And the Central Avenue address, 1258, that's where you were living?
No, sir.
Cottage Hill address?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's where this occurred?
Yes, sir.
Where does your sister live?
With her grandma.
McKnight. That's the Central Avenue address?
I believe so. I don't know her grandma address, but she was visiting.
But she does not live at that address?
No, sir.
All right, you do qualify for pretrial release. I can release you with pretrial conditions, or I can set a bond.
You would like pretrial release, Your Honor.
All righty. I will release you with pretrial release conditions. No guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. You're not to have any contact with your sister, Zariah McKnight. not to go to her home at South Central Avenue. You can return to your home, though, as long as she's not there. If she's there, you can't go back there.
Yes, sir.
All right, I will appoint a public defender to represent you.
Thank you.
Your name, sir?
Harry Lore.
Laura, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery, domestic violence. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find that there is sufficient probable cause. All right, ma'am, raise your right hand, please. Solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Your name, please?
I'm Cassie Lore, the victim's mother.
Where is she?
But he's transitioning, so I call him he. It's my son.
Okay.
He's working. I didn't know that he had to be here. I've never done this before. So I didn't know the process, but I can at least give you a little information.
Okay.
You know, my husband, he's never done anything physically. You know, verbally he's hot-tempered. And what happened was my son, I think you probably read the a statement from both of them. My son was scared because he was yelling at him and it was verbal and it became physical. So my son, he has never seen this from him before. So it was just a shock, you know, and I know my husband, he gets hot-tempered, but I've never been afraid, you know, at home ever. So it's just, I think it got the best of him. I think he was just, you know, angry, resentful, because my son has been with us for the past year full time, but he is going back and forth now with his father. So my husband's away 3 to 4 days a week. So I think my son, he just doesn't feel comfortable being around him right now, but I think he'll be fine. You know, maybe if we did a temporary no contact and possibly anger management for him.
Okay. Do you have another place to go other than the Arden Oaks address?
I mean, I could stay with my parents. I know that he is already staying with his real father for the time being, though.
I would like him home if I could have him home.
Well,
Just
where is your son?
Right, he's with us, but then he can be with his father on the days that my husband's out of town for 3 days during the week. My son can be home, and then the days that he's home, he can be with his father. You know, just for short term. I don't think it's really something that's long term.
Okay. Well, here's the problem. If I say no contact right now, then that's what it'll be until the domestic violence judge changes that, right? So regardless of whether you guys decide that it's okay, technically, if he is there, even though you guys all think it's okay, if he's there, it could potentially be a violation of his release. So I can say no contact.
Okay.
Or I can say no hostile contact.
Okay.
Judge, may I speak, please?
No.
So basically, after this happened,
Your Honor, state would object to setting no hostile at this time, given the victim is not here and he is 18.
I mean, I understand that, but.
Judge, I just feel that we would all be able to stay in the same house together. I don't think that there will be any further issues.
Well, that might be, but that, from what I'm hearing from Mom, is that's not what he wants.
He's right now, he's just a little uneasy about it, so it's almost like he needs to just be away from him for a little bit. I don't think it's something that would be a long-term thing.
Well, and if they're gonna, if he's going to be going back and forth, then I'll just make it no contact right now, and that will make the state feel better. Now, you do qualify for pretrial release. Or I can set a bond. Pretrial release has conditions. You gotta follow up with a pretrial release officer and do some things that they ask you to do, or I can just set a bond of $500. You'd have to actually post that. Whichever one you want.
I'm not sure I understand the difference.
Well, one of them is $500, and there will be conditions that I put on you. The other one is you don't have to post any monetary bond at all, but there are other things that they'll require you to do. Potentially be drug tested and things like that.
So bond, and then you come back for a case trial?
Eventually, it might. If they decide to file it, then it'll proceed through the process. If they don't file the charges, then it could go away.
Okay.
He would like the bond, Your Honor.
All right, I'll set bond amount of $500. No contact with
His legal name got changed, it's just not changed on his ID.
And that's Maya, is that right?
It's, well, it's really Matt, but it Maya on his driver's license.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no contact with Matt Lore or Maya Lore? Just put both.
Well, Pascarella is the last name.
Pascarella, I see
Yeah,
that now.
different father.
Okay.
Okay.
Maya Pascarella, Pasquerella. No guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol.
And sir, how long is that no contact for, do you know?
That'll be until the judge changes it, but I will let him go back to the house. So when he's there,
He can be,
Matt can't be there.
okay,
And if Matt's gonna be there, he's gotta go live somewhere else.
okay.
And you said you can live with your parents if that's the case, right? Sir. All right. And I'll appoint a public defender to represent you, at least on the short term. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
I will waive the appearance, Your Honor.
All right. Set bond amount of $500, no guns, no drugs, no weapons, no alcohol. Appoint a public defender, no contact with Kina Ramkissoon, K-I-N-A, first name R-A-M-K-I-S-S-O-O-N. Last name, no contact whatsoever. And no return to 601 West Jefferson Street, Apartment 5. You can go back one time with law enforcement to pick up any personal items. Appoint a public defender to represent him. Your name, ma'am?
Gwendolyn Torres.
Okay, Ms. Torres, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery domestic violence. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find that there was sufficient probable cause. You were not living at the 1667 Watauga, right?
I live there alone with my kids. Just me and the kids.
16, oh, okay.
Yep.
He does not.
He doesn't live there.
No, sir.
He came there to drop the child off. Okay. And DCF is involved, I assume?
Yes.
All right, you do qualify for pretrial release. I could release you with pretrial release conditions, or I could set a bond. Pretrial release requires that you'll have to meet with your officer. There's some things you have to do, but there's no monetary requirement that you post a bond.
I can pay 100. I don't mind. I can pay 100. Which one gets me home to my kids faster?
Well, if PTR's already approved you, they'll just have to come with you, and then you'll get out. Otherwise, you're gonna have to find the $500 post.
I work a lot though. Okay, bond.
Okay. I would ask for the bond, Your Honor.
All right, I'll set bond amount of $500. You'd have no contact
Okay.
with
Right here.
Shay,
Ann.
no, who was it? That's not correct. Is it Cheyenne Garcia? Yes. S-H-A-Y-A-N-N-E Garcia.
Okay.
No contact whatsoever, no guns, no drugs, no weapons, no alcohol, no pepper spray.
Okay.
Possess any of those, and I'll appoint a public defender to represent you.
Your Honor, state we just asked to comply
you.
with DCF.
But, yeah, comply with any orders that DCF enters, if DCF is, I'm sure, involved at this point. So if they have a order entered or anything, you need to comply with that as well. Okay?
Thank you.
Your name, sir?
Dravius Toussaint.
Mr. Toussaint, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery domestic violence. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Raise your right hand, please, ma'am. Solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Your name is?
Emily Caceres.
I'm sorry, speak up, please.
Emily Caceres.
Alrighty. And you're the alleged victim?
Yes.
What do you want to tell me?
That I don't think he needs to be here and it was an,
You have to get closer to the microphone. There you go.
thought it was an over exaggeration on my part and that he really shouldn't be here. Tensions are high due to the passing of his sister and our sick children.
You guys are living together?
We are.
Okay. And so what you're telling me, I guess, is that you don't have any concerns or fears if he were to return home?
Absolutely not.
All right, he does, sir, you do qualify for pretrial release. I can either set a bond or I can release you with pretrial.
It's only 100.
He said the boneyard.
All righty. I'll set bond amount of $500. You're to have no hostile contact, all right? So he can have contact with you. I'll let him come home, but it can't be hostile. No throwing car seats, no yelling, no screaming, no raising fists, nothing, okay? If he's hostile in any way, that's a violation of the bond. You're not to possess any guns, any weapons, any drugs, or any alcohol. Is there DTF here?
No, I don't believe the children witnessed it.
And I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. Your name, ma'am?
Elijah Wickfall.
All right, Ms. Wickfall, you're here today because you were arrested on a charge of battery, domestic violence. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Now, I know, I guess you're from, like, southwest Florida, I think. Is that right?
I'm from South Carolina.
Oh, South Carolina, okay. Where this happened, though, was like in a parking garage, so nobody, is anyone from around here? That any of the witnesses or the alleged victim? From Orlando? Is she from here? No. All right. All right, raise your right hand, please. Solemnly swear testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, self you got.
Yes, sir.
Your name?
Jasmine Oliver.
Okay, and you're the alleged victim in the case?
Yeah.
All right, what did you want to tell me?
We was just in a heated moment. You know, we had a couple drinks. You know, she's not violent. You know, this is our first time getting the police involved. It was just a lot going on that night. You know, she's a very good person. You know, and I don't mind if.
And you guys don't live together?
Yeah, we do.
You do? So, and is that here, or where do you guys live together?
We live in Fort Myers.
Okay, well, that's what I thought I said, didn't I?
Yeah, yeah, she's from South Carolina. She just
Okay.
moved down here with me.
All right, so when she gets out, you guys are going back to Fort Myers,
Yes, sir.
and you don't have any problem with her coming back to your house?
No, like I said, this is our first time ever getting the police involved anyway.
All right. Okay, I will set bond the amount of $500. I'll let you have contact, but it's gonna be no hostile contact with Jasmine Oliver, okay? No hostile contact. That means you can't raise your fist, can't yell at her, can't scream at her, can't throw anything around, nothing like that, okay?
Sure.
Okay. No guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. And if you do go down, leave and go down to Fort Myers, make sure you keep in contact with your attorney. I will appoint a public defender as well as the surety. And that's it. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Your name, sir?
Cody Wolf.
All right, Mr. Wolf, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery, domestic violence. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Let's see. Were you living at 831 School Street?
Yes.
And is Ashby living there also?
Yes.
All right. She's not here. Do you have another place to go?
No.
To live? You're gonna have to. You can't go back there for right now because she's not here to indicate that it's okay. Okay? So you'll have to find another place to go. I will set bond the amount of $500. You're not to possess any guns or weapons, any drugs or alcohol. You're not to have any contact with Ashby Wiggins on the short term, for at least right now. I mean, if she wants to go and speak to the state, or your attorney can set that up, that might change. But for right now, you're not to have any contact. You're not to return to 831 School Street. And I will appoint a public defender to represent you.
What about to obtain my vehicle so I can go to work?
You can go back there one time with law enforcement. So you either get a deputy or you get one of the police department They go with you, and you can pick up any personal items that you may need, you know, to live, and then also you can pick up your vehicle if you can show that it's yours. Okay? All righty, good luck.
Was there anything on the side to sign?
It's like all domestic violence this morning, wasn't there? There's nothing else? Crazy. Isaiah Munfus?
Find it, Your Honor.
No, we don't. All right, 33 days, you ready?
Yes, Judge.
State of Florida versus Gerard Terrence Evelyn, 2023 CF 63AO.
Denied, and information was filed.
State of Florida versus Jake Simon, 2022 CF 13590AO.
Granted, notice of non-filing.
State of Florida versus Javon Ashley Nichols, 2022 CF 13366AO.
Granted, notice of non-filing.
State of Florida versus Jeffrey Lee Hawk, 2023 CF 177AO.
Granted, notice of non-filing.
State of Florida versus Evan Jamal Taylor, 2023 CF 61AO.
Granted, notice of non-filing.
State of Florida versus Kelly Edward Gooden, 2023 CF 174AO.
Granted, notice of non-filing.
State of Florida versus Patrick Benoit, 2022 CF 14368AO.
Granted, notice of non-filing.
State of Florida versus Hadel Leanne G. Blanco, 2023 CF 301AO.
Granted, notice of non-filing.
State of Florida versus Terry Jeremiah Robinson, 2023 CF 183AO.
Granted, notice of non-filing.
State of Florida versus Vanessa LeBron, 2023 CF 62AO.
Granted, it was no build.
State of Florida versus Tori Page Newman, 2023 CF 182AO.
Granted, notice of non-filing.
State of Florida versus Sheila Marie Summerlin, 2023 CF 117AO.
Granted, it was no build.
State of Florida versus Keith Andrew McKee, 2022 CF 14689AO.
Denied, and information was filed.
State of Florida versus Miles Charles Lassard, 2023 MM 65AO.
Granted, notice of non-filing.
State of Florida versus Juan Carlos Rios Ramirez, 2023 CF 170AO.
Denied, and information was filed.
And State of Florida versus Ruben Trancasso, 2022 CF 14381AO.
Granted, it was no build.
So I have a judges meeting at 12. Then I'm gonna do video.
We only have like 27 cases, and then probably like the 5 arraignments that come, so we probably have like 30-ish cases. Could we come back at 11:15?
I'm fine with that if
I
that
think-
works for everyone else.
That works for defense.
There's like 30 cases, so I think we'd be able to do it.
Yeah, I'm
Does
done.
that work with corrections? 11:15? Alrighty, then let's do it. 11:15 it is. Get those banged out in 30 less than. You know, just getting set up for a worse day sometime because this is not an easy, smooth day. We know we're just gonna get crushed. Not another day.
All right, good afternoon, sir.
Buenas tardes, caballero. Good afternoon.
I have reviewed the charging affidavit for one count of battery domestic violence.
He revisado el acta acusatoria por un cargo de agresión violencia doméstica.
I do find probable cause for your arrest.
Determino que existen indicios razonables para su arresto.
You do qualify for PTR with a bond.
Usted reúne requisitos para la libertad provisional con una fianza.
Your bond will be set at $500.
Su fianza estará programada en $500.
You are not to have any contact with the listed victim.
Se le va a prohibir contacto en absoluto con la presunta víctima.
You are not to have any contact with the children at this time.
No se le permitirá tener contacto con los niños en este momento.
You are not to return to 2115 Creekmount Lake, apartment 308.
No se permite regresar al 2115 Creekmount Lake, apartamento 308.
You are not to possess any weapons or firearms.
No se le permite portar armas de fuego o armas blancas.
And again, you are to maintain a separate residence from the victim.
Y de nuevo, necesita permanecer alejado de una residencia separada de la víctima.
Anything else, State?
Algo más, Fiscalía.
No, Your Honor.
No, su señoría.
All right, thank you, sir.
Pero, su señoría, señor Orlán Colón, posiblemente necesite regresar una sola vez con las autoridades.
I will give you a one-time assistance with law enforcement to receive your items. Again, that means, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Le voy a permitir que regrese una sola vez acompañado de los agentes del orden público para recopilar sus pertenencias personales.
That means that you have to be with law enforcement before you even get there in order to get your items. You understand?
O sea, usted tiene que reunirse primero con las autoridades para que lo acompañen a ir a buscar sus cosas. ¿Usted entiende?
Okay, thank you.
Gracias.
Next court date on demand.
Próxima comparecencia cuando sea ordenada.
Just for the record, I'm going to provisionally appoint the Public Defender's Office for these proceedings only.
Para que conste en actas, voy a designar las oficinas del defensor público de manera provisional solamente para estos procedimientos.
All right, next person is Frank Velez. He bonded, okay. All right, so Miss Elisa Aurora Morero doesn't need anyone.
Your Honor, we also have Andrew speaker as well.
All right, that's gonna be called at the very end. Can you make an announcement for me to see if anyone else needs your services?
Of course, Your Honor. Su atención, por favor, si hay alguna otra persona presente que necesite los servicios del intérprete en español, por favor, alce la mano en este momento.
It doesn't look like anybody needs help, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome, Your Honor. Have a good afternoon.
You too. Alyssa Arroyo Marrero. All right, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Judge.
We have an out-of-county warrant out of Polk County. It looks like it's a violation of your probation. That bond is currently set at 0 at this time, so Polk County will have to come get you, okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
How long will it be?
Typically is what, 24? All right, so between 24 and 48 hours, they're gonna come get you.
All right, thank you.
Welcome. Trevor Atkin, 22 CF 3705.
Your Honor, I've been informed that this is conflict counsel's case.
Okay, it's RCC's case? Just one second, Mr. Dorsey. All right, so you do have a regional conflict counsel appointed on your case. I do need to IA you on three,
Your Honor, he's also informed me that he would like to waive the reading of the charges.
that's fine. So the state has filed an information. When you were seen back in January, there was only 4 counts, I think, or 3 counts. There's now 3 additional counts. Let me make sure I'm saying that correctly. All right, so back in January, it was 4 counts, so there's 2 additional counts, okay? So as to count 2, I do find probable cause. Your bond is going to be set at 0, as I do find proof is evident, presumption's great, so you all will have to hold a hearing on count 2 as well as count 3. I do find probable cause. Your bond is going to be set at 0, as I find proof is evident, presumption's great. Count 6, you are entitled to a bond. I do find probable cause. Your bond is going to be set at $15,000. Again, you're not to have any contact with any of the victims. You are not to return to the scene of the incident, and you're not to, again, possess any weapons or firearms. Anything else, State?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor, he is going to be receiving a document with all of the charges, correct?
Yes, he should.
Okay.
All right, don't say anything. Go ahead and speak with Mr. Dorsey.
Next court date, February 13th, in courtroom 5A at 8:45 a.m.
Your Honor, does he still have a court date on the 13th?
Yes, he does.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Giovanni Colazzo, 23 CT 584.
Your Honor, this individual has refused.
All right, I'll take his refusal as a waiver of his appearance for these proceedings. I do find probable cause for operating a motor vehicle without a valid driver's license. Bond will be set at $500.
Next court date of still in jail, February 16th, if filed, February 27th, in courtroom 5B at 8:30 a.m.
Mariella Shipman, 23 MM 272. Right, good afternoon. It's my understanding that we have the victim present. All right, good afternoon. Can I please have your first and last name? All right, Ms. Shipman, I received a charging affidavit for battery, domestic violence. I do find probable cause for your arrest. You do qualify for PTR with a bond. Your bond is going to be set at $500. As to the no contact, I'm going to speak with the victim and ask him if he wishes to have contact with you, okay? Sir, can you please raise your right hand for me? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? All right, thank you, sir. Tell me your first and last name again. All right, Mr. Smith, do you wish to have contact with the defendant?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me why.
She's pregnant with my child, about 3 months, and been dating for about 3 years now.
All right, so you've been with her for 3 years. She's about 3 months pregnant. Are you in fear at this time? If she's released, will you be in fear? Is anyone forcing you to come in here and ask me to have contact with her? All right. Is there any weapons or firearms in the home? If something like this was to happen again, would you call law enforcement? State, do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Defense, any questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and do a no hostile contact. That means that there can't be any yelling from you, Ms. Shipman, and you can't be aggressive towards Mr. Smith. You have to basically be civil towards him. If there's someone that calls the police and they say Ms. Shipman was seen yelling or being aggressive towards Mr. Smith, that you are going to be arrested, okay? Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, do you have any questions for me? All right. I'm gonna also do a no return to that smoke shop at this time. That's located at 11 Neptune Road, so can't go back there right now, okay? All right, thank you. Yes. All right, thank you, sir.
Next court date on demand.
John Watkins, 2 cases.
Your Honor, I do have argument as to count two.
I don't, you mean the second case, the introduction of contraband?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, the second case.
All right.
It's introduction of controlled substance.
Oh, controlled substance, okay. The 23 CF 378, which is the aggravated battery. I do find probable cause. Do qualify for a bond with PTR conditions. Your bond's gonna be set at $5,000. You're not to have any contact with the listed victim. You're not to return to 101 Cypress Street. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. Anything else, State, on this case?
Yes, for this count, Your Honor, the state would be asking for a high bond. The defendant was convicted of the aggravated battery with a deadly weapon in 2017, was sent to prison, was released from prison less than a year ago, and he does qualify as PRR.
All right. Mr. Dorsey, do you wish to be heard?
No, Your Honor.
All right, State high bond. Any recommendations for the court to consider?
No, Your Honor, just the history that I just gave.
He is entitled to a bond. Your bond is going to be set at $30,000. In your second case, 23 CF 379, introduction into a detention facility. Looks like it was a crack pipe found.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, what's the PC argument?
There's no mention of residue, only that they found a crack pipe, and there's no controlled substance mentioned like in a crack pipe. And it only says that they found a crack pipe.
Yes. State?
Your Honor, contained within the 4 corners of the affidavit, the state would argue that if Your Honor were to find that there is no PC for the controlled substance, that there is PC for smuggling contraband into a facility.
I do find probable cause for the introduction of contraband. With that being said, the bond is going to be stayed at $2,500.
For the record,
Yes, ma'am.
is it PTR, with PTR, both cases?
That's what's on my sheet, so yes, PTR with bond, yes.
Thank you.
Next court date on demand.
Right, I'm up to my last case, so can we, did I? Unless it's attached to something. Ashley Rivera.
Oh, yeah, I believe it's not. Yes,
Mr. Rivera, that's not Mr. Rivera? No? Oh. Hi. Miss, hold on. Let me make sure I'm looking at the right one. Okay, Ashley Rivera. All right. Your case is 21 CT 2948. I have reviewed the violation of probation warrant. Probable cause has been found. Your bond is currently set at 0 at this time.
Next court date, February 16th in courtroom 5B at 8:05 a.m. Thank you.
And William Lenoir, 23 CT 377. Is that the last one before the, okay. All right, sir, you were arrested for criminal mischief of $1,000 or more. I do find probable cause for your arrest. Don't qualify for PTR. Your bond's gonna be stayed at $1,000. Please do not return to 1600 13th Street. Do not have any contact with the tenants at that location. Okay?
Next court date on demand.
And we're gonna be calling the Mandarin interpreter.
Hi, this is Mandarin interpreter. 这个是宣顾。
Hi, it's a little difficult to hear you. Can you speak up a little bit for me?
Is it better right now?
Yes, I can hear you. All right, Mr. Dorsey, you all able to hear over there?
Yes, sir.
All righty. Our case number is 23MM270. I have the defendants at the jail and I have the victim in front of me in court. So I'm gonna need you to interpret everything that I am saying, okay? You ready to go?
Yes.
All right. The defendant has been charged with battery domestic violence.
就是的控告就是那个家庭暴力。
I do find probable cause for his arrest.
然后逮捕的原因是
He does qualify for a bond with PTR conditions.
他可以就是保释用 PDR 的这个条件。
Your bond's going to be set at $500.
保释是500块钱。
I'm going to ask the victim, Miss, is it Lou? If she wishes to have contact with you.
就是受害者是 Miss Lu， 请问你愿意让他联络你吗？
Yes. 我没听清楚能不能。
Oh, don't say anything.
Yes.
Do you need the interpreter too? Okay. Can you raise your right hand for me, Miss Lou?
Miss Lu， 你举右手。
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
请问你宣誓就是诚实的回答吗？
是的。
Yes。
Okay. Tell me your first and last name again.
你的姓名。
T-I-N-G, last name L-I-U.
Do you wish to have contacts with the defendant?
你要跟那个被告人有联络吗？
是的 ，Yes.
Yes。
Tell me why.
为什么？
My husband, we just played the game. We don't have anything. We just played the game at a car. Just somebody. I said bye. They thinking I need to help. No, I said bye because 2 minutes before we still hug on the car outside. We hug almost 2 minutes. They have a camera can see it. After that, we go to the Panda. We eat the food. My husband.
You don't have to tell me anything else. I understand. You're saying it was a mistake and that he's your husband, so you want him to come home.
Yes.
So you're not afraid of him at all?
No, they take care of me a lot.
Okay. Let's just say if he was to hit you, what would you do?
No, he didn't hit me.
No, let's just say, because you're saying it didn't happen, but let's just say something like this was to happen and he hit you,
Will call.
you would call who? The police?
Yeah.
Okay.
If he hit me, I will call. But he didn't because there's physical contact.
Okay, I understand. Do you have any weapons or firearms in the house?
What's me for this?
家里有任何武器吗？
没有武器。
枪支武器
No, no.
No, no weapons.
All right. I'm gonna see if the prosecutor has any questions for you.
No, Your
看
Honor.
一下那个检察官有没有问题？有没有一些问题？没有。
All right, Mr. Dorsey, do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right. So, it is going to be a no hostile contact. So, sir, that means you can't yell at her or be aggressive towards her whatsoever. Do you understand?
就是不可以对他吼叫，不能够有这种暴力性的行为。
So I am allowing you to return home, but no more fighting, no yelling, nothing like that.
可以让你回家，但不可以打架，也不可以那个大声吼叫。
And you're not to possess any weapons or firearms, okay?
不可以携带任何的武器。
All right, thank you, sir.
谢谢你。
Your Honor, what is his response?
500.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Interpreter.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Thank
You
you.
too.
Bye bye.
All right, Mr. Dorsey, I've seen everyone, correct?
Yes, Your Honor, that's
All right. Have a good afternoon. Course in recess till tomorrow morning.